Hey guys!
Hey guys!
We're back with another Walking Dead review, this time reviewing The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 2, titled The Well. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later, because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Okay, I really feel like this was pretty much the perfect episode to follow up a very brutal season premiere.
Yeah, and not only that, this episode, start to finish, was phenomenal. I loved this episode. It was fantastic. Like, I have one teeny tiny complaint, and it's minuscule. Carol's in a wheelchair again, and it felt a little repetitive. She was already in the wheelchair at the hospital. Yeah. But she was in it for like 2 scenes, and then she was out. So I'm like, whatever. I can get past that. The rest of the episode, though, was like absolutely phenomenal.
We were a little worried at first about why Ezekiel was trusting Morgan so quickly, but they did kind of resolve that in dialogue, and I think it worked all right, the way they resolved it.
Yeah, and they resolved it with that, but then they also resolved it with him calling Carol out, saying, "You don't bullshit a bullshitter." Mm-hmm. He's really good at reading people, and I think that's why he let Morgan in, because we were like, okay, he brought Morgan to the meet with the Saviors because he knew he wouldn't kill anybody. He had sensed that about him from interacting with him and doing stuff. But we were trying to figure out why he allowed him to go with them to get the pigs that were eating the walkers, and I really wasn't satisfied until he had his conversation with Carol and said, "You don't bullshit a bullshitter." And I'm like, he just reads people insanely well. He read Morgan and knew that he could trust him and that he was peaceful.
Yeah, and honorable. That's the big thing. I think Ezekiel saw that in Morgan, and that's also why he asked him to train Ben.
Yes.
We also want to talk about Shiva. Shiva's a character, so let's go ahead. This character could have really come across as cheesy and over the top and bad, but no, Shiva was awesome. The tiger effect was outstanding. Yeah, and after we got Shiva in the comics, we were both kind of like, oh god, how are they going to do this in the show? Because it could have been bad. Like, think first appearance of Drogon flying in Game of Thrones, or first appearance of Daenerys riding Drogon in Game of Thrones, bad. So the tiger is CG, and there were points where I was like, you're questioning.
Yeah, I was questioning. I was like, well, did they use a real tiger too? But like, it looks so similar throughout the whole thing. I think the whole thing's CG, but it was very convincing.
I love that there was a lot of humor in this episode. Like, after Carol first meets Ezekiel, and she's totally hamming it up for him.
Yes.
Like, you thought she was playing submissive when they got to Alexandria. She was really hamming it up when she met Ezekiel. And then when Morgan took her out, she's going, "Are you shitting me?" And I'm like, oh my, that was one of my favorite moments from this episode, when Carol just kind of dresses Morgan down, like, where the hell are we? Yeah. This is a cartoon. Are you out of your mind? We gotta go now.
Yeah, like, I loved it. It was Carol playing a part almost immediately, which is what she does, and then gathering her materials and getting out of there. That's what she wanted to do, and I think it's kind of, she likes the idea of a community, but I don't think she trusts herself in a community right now. And I
don't think she wants to have to kill for anybody else.
Yes.
And I don't think she wants to see any of her people die. So I think she feels safer alone because of those two things.
Yes. And the conversation between Carol and Ezekiel was amazing.
Standout scene from this episode.
Oh my gosh. Because the whole time I'm like, how are they going to resolve this so Carol doesn't leave? Because there was no way she was staying there. Yeah. Not with how cheesy and contradictory the entire thing was. And like, as soon as Ezekiel's by himself with Carol, character comes off and he's him.
Yeah.
And he talks to her and he breaks it down to her, like, this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, this is why I'm doing it. And then I loved the solution. It's absolutely brilliant. Go, but don't go. And that's she's in a house kind of in between the two communities. So she's gone, but she's not. She's right there. She can come back. She can still see them. They can still see her. It's a way for her to be by herself, which she absolutely needs right now, but not be cut off from everybody.
Yeah. And I really like that Ezekiel came to her house at the end of the episode. I totally see a Carol Ezekiel romance on the horizon.
Yes.
I said this in our predictions video and people treated me like I was crazy. No, it's totally happening.
But dude, there's like a million articles out there about the same thing, about Carol having Michonne's story arc. And let's just talk about Carol and Ezekiel's on-screen chemistry. It's amazing. Yeah, really it's absolutely incredible. So, like, I can buy into this because it feels good. It feels legit.
And while we're talking about Ezekiel, the actor who plays him, Khary Payton, he's actually married to a friend of my sister's from high school. So, like, I'm watching this, I'm like, I really hope he's good. And he was phenomenal. So good. Oh my gosh. To see him transition from the theatrical King Ezekiel to, Zeke, who used to work at the zoo.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I absolutely loved it. I think he's going to be a fantastic. Yeah. He looks the part and he acts the part. I'm on board with Ezekiel, and I'm on board with Shiva.
Yeah, and he's not a carbon clone copy of Ezekiel from the comics. No. He's made the character his own in his little ways, just these little tiny ways that just makes it feel like a different character from the book. The same character, but different. And
he says, he used to, act, and he's played kings, King Arthur, King Lear, I think he said. Macbeth, and Martin Luther. And you can definitely see him channeling a tiny bit of Martin Luther King, I think.
Yeah,
in the delivery of the dialogue, which I really enjoyed. Yeah. All around, fantastic episode. Yes. Absolutely loved it. The perfect episode to follow up the premiere.
Yes.
I think that's all we have for this video, but we would love to hear from you. Let us know what you thought down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, and we really hope you did, please tell us by dropping a like on it and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.